Hey friends, it's Jay Lobos coming back to you on another episode, and I'm actually here today with
Berto, guys, a sales manager for BWS.
Awesome. And guys, we wanted to go ahead and just share with you guys a few fundamental things when it comes to disputing online.
Exciting information, guys.
Absolutely. So one of the things, obviously, there's a couple of deficiencies, a couple of disadvantages that people are obviously either unaware or they're just not knowledgeable with regards to the dispute process. And we wanted to give you guys a little quick tips on a few things that obviously if you don't know, and towards the end of the video, we're going to provide a few solutions so you can obviously take advantage of that and get those stubborn negative accounts deleted from your credit.
Once and for all.
So let's go ahead and jump in.
All right. Number one, guys. What is the number one?
Well, there's certain things that you cannot dispute online. A lot of people are under the impression that, guess what?
That
maybe I could dispute inquiries. I could dispute that public record. I could dispute that charge-off item. But
unfortunately, guys, it doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, not all accounts are eligible to be disputed online, believe it or not.
So what happens is that this is where we're under the impression that we can go ahead and challenge a specific account. Guys, keep in mind that when you go ahead and you open up an electronic dispute online, there's going to be a little drop-down box.
Yes.
And if you cannot provide some sort of burden of proof, depending on what that drop-down says, if it was some sort of fraud, maybe if the balance is incorrect, if it's not yours, if it's fraud, and if it doesn't fit the characters, then you might not be doing justice to yourself or having the supporting information needed for you to actually dispute that.
That was the other thing. I mean, again, guys, aside of that, if you actually, a lot of these accounts, even though we might be able to dispute them, the system is going to ask you for literally supporting documentation, paperwork that you need to include with that dispute in order for them to take it on.
And this is where the Fair Credit Reporting Act states that everything in your report has to be verifiable, accurate, and complete. This obviously, there's different sections within the rule, and this is where it's important for you to understand that process so you can have success. Let's jump into number two.
Let me ask you this. So what happens if the account comes back validated?
Well, that actually hits my second topic.
Espérate. Before you go into that, guys, validated means if the account comes back validated, means that you guys cannot dispute that account again for the next 120 days.
Which is actually 4 months. That's another little obstacle, obviously, that we have to go through. This is where opening up my third topic, which is basically the reinvestigation or having supporting documentation is going to come into play. Because again, guys, right now what we're looking to do is we're looking to find a discrepancy. This is where some of the solutions that we're going to go ahead and provide to you guys now in the video that could help you guys to make some progress.
So make sure that, don't log off right now. I know you heard the first 2 tips and you're like, you got to go back to work. Stay for the whole video so you can get all the nuggets.
So one of the things is, obviously, there's certain disadvantages when it comes to online, but there's actually real advantages when you go ahead and initiate disputes. Manually written letters, which is one of the best ways to actually trying to find discrepancies. Right. Because the difference when you do it electronically versus when you do it manually is the difference is instead of you actually being able to question something when you're doing it manually, the system when you do it electronically tells you what you can and can't do. And that's the issue.
Not only that, guys, I don't know if you're aware of this, but when you're doing electronic dispute, there's a section where you should be able to go in, put your notes. But that only allows you to put up to 250 characters, guys.
So that's another limitation.
Sentences. How are you going to explain?
You can't even do a compelling dispute like that.
So I went to T-Mobile and they said that they were going to pay Sprint, but Sprint never paid. And then I got a bill and then this happened. Already you're out of ink in the first half of the sentence.
Not only that, you're also another disadvantage when you do it electronically is that if you really have supporting documentation, you maybe did speak to the creditor, maybe you do have something that's compelling that actually shows that you do have the burden of proof, then you're going to be limited on the amount of megabytes or gigabytes you're able to go ahead and put onto that electronic dispute.
They're even managing the amount of
data that you can whatever you can send.
Listen, I don't want this guy this guy's going to send me a book of everything that's wrong in his credit. I don't want him.
Correct. So one of the best ways that we figured out, obviously, we've actually created a hybrid model where whatever we can't do electronically, we're going to go ahead and lean towards the manually written. and the physical mail.
Yeah.
Why? Because guess what? There's a lot more things that I could go ahead and show and prove. I could literally use certain sections within the U.S. code. There's actually under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, there's 25 sections that we could technically leverage and use to create a compelling dispute that could yield the results that you guys need.
But not only that, guys, when doing manually written letters, we are not limited. There's no limit on the amount of disputes, on how long you have to wait until the dispute again is done, how many disputes you can do at a time. Guys, there's no limit. That's why it's the number one choice when it comes to that.
Preferably for us, this is something that we've always obviously had to take advantage of, given the fact that we're going through a pandemic right now. And guess what? There's a lot of the U.S. Postal Service is being underfunded because of the elections and things like that. And we've had to kind of shift gears and maybe leverage the electronic. But when you can't do that, you have to lean towards the other natural way, which is something that we've always done.
You got to have a plan A and plan B, guys.
So one of the best things to do when it comes to that, obviously not only writing or going over the rules, looking at what the rules say as to what you could actually dispute, but when you're going to go ahead and send it out, one of the benefits is send it over, mail and return receipt. That's a huge benefit right now because you're going to catch the bureaus on a statute of limitation when it comes to the length of time that they have to be able to investigate that dispute and be able to respond back to you. After a specific amount of time, which is 30 business days, and they have not responded back to you, then that's a technicality that could be leveraged to be able to delete your accounts. Mail and return receipt.
Not only that, guys, remember, who's to just touch on something that is very important. The post office is going through a tremendous situation right now. So in order to doing mail and return receipt guarantees you that they are going to be getting your information and that your dispute letter is not going to get lost in transition on the way there, guys.
You also have a tracking number, so this way you'll know exactly when they got it,
who got it,
they took, and obviously you could go ahead and validate that information. So on the next dispute, you could leverage that information, you could put that with your dispute, and you could send that right off. And if by that time, if it's taken over 120 days for you to do the electronic, the manually, and you've gotten back into that, then you can technically use that supporting documentation on an electronic method.
On another one, right. But again, like you said, after those 120 days, after 4 months.
So I'm going to tell you guys this much. All this might sound like a lot of jargon, and it might be a little confusing. Electronic, written, U.S. code, who knows?
It's a must,
So if you guys have any questions and concerns regarding your credit, we're here to obviously help you. We're here to navigate and show clarity with regards to how this entire process unravels and takes place.
Guys, listen, take advantage of us. It's like I tell Justo, bro, we're tools. Use us to your advantage, guys. Leverage us to your advantage, because we're going to give you nuggets and we're going to give you information that is, obviously, guys, this is all we do every day, all day.
Definitely. So, guys, you got it there from the experts. If you guys have any questions, let us know. I'm going to go ahead and leave a little bit of contact information on the description.
On the bottom.
Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Share this if you found this information to be really useful. Until the next time, guys, take care.
Have a good one, guys. See you in the next one.